All right, quick video analysis for New York sessions, what has happened, and what to expect for Tokyo for tonight and for Friday. So I'm going to be taking off here with the family here within the next hour. So I want to make this video as much as possible so you guys can get a clear view of what I see in case if I don't send out any signals. That way you guys can see where there's clear direction and where it's going. So we had a major retracement due to the fact that Trump has announced bad reviews and bad economic decisions from the Fed. And let me pull up here. I know Forex Factory had it too. And so you can see right here, Trump lays into the Federal Reserve, says he is not thrilled about interest rate hikes. You can read the whole thing. He was interviewed with CNBC just about an hour ago, and it did a major impact on the retracement. You have to remember that the US dollar was overbought already. USD JPY was way overbought. USD CAD and USD Swiss franc was already overbought. So based on RSI and stochastic, yes, they were overbought. But you have to remember that today's Thursday, and that Thursdays, you have that almost every Thursday, there's always retracements, especially during New York session. So you have to be prepared for that. Regardless whether if it's economic news is positive or negative, doesn't matter. You're going to see major retracements, and the major impact on the retracements usually happen right after the overlap of London sessions. So the overlap of London sessions ends at 10 a.m. Central Time for me, and for those that are on Eastern Time, London overlaps is done at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So now you get to see the gist of what's going on for Thursdays. Every Thursday, you have to pay attention to political events and not the economics. So this is what was going on with Trump. Let's see here. And then the reason why the dollar went right back up is he says he respects the independence of the Fed. So you have to remember that Trump is not a permanent reversal, it's a temporary retracement. You have to understand that. Whatever he says out of his mouth is just a temporary retracement for the dollar. Remember, the dollar is still strong. The dollar is still, you can see gold right here on the 15-minute chart laid out back to the same resistance. And you can see how this closed below 1228. Boom, right back down again. So your best time to sell the gold was that back at 1228 again, or at the very wick almost at 1230. And you have to remember that it's about the candles that are closing, not the wicks. It's about the candles that are closing. Very important, pay attention to the 15-minute chart and the 1-hour chart for the rest of this month and for the next month. We can't be looking at the 4-hour, we can't be looking at the daily, the weekly, and the monthly. Everything right now is really based on this whole summer for the dollar to be really strong. I have not seen the dollar be a sell ever since April. I already talked about this on the last video analysis from last night. Now let's look at the US dollar so you guys can see a clear picture where the dollar is headed. Major retracement, hit a top price of today at 95.65, right? Shot immediately back down, right? Broke this support line, but it built support here, right a little bit, right a little bit under 95, shooting right back up again at 95. Based on the daily, you can see I already talked about the crossover that happened here. So the crossover isn't going anywhere. The crossover is going to take forever to be a sell, curving back down. It's not curving back down. You can clearly see that the 9 SMA is crossing, going up, not going down. You can't just sell the dollar long term. There's no selling the dollar long term until you see the crossover going down on the daily chart. You can see that how the dollar is facing a lot of rejection here, but it's been breaking new highs. On the weekly, like I said, this is still a bullish candle, and I expect it to come back to either break 96 or close close to 96, and it will be closing above this resistance here. And from there, like I said, we're looking for a 98, 100, and the very top resistance of 103. That's it. That's all I'm really looking for until September 1st starts, the fall and the third quarter. Then we can really look at a reversal for the 90-day turnaround for the next quarter, right? For the next 90 days. Every quarter is 3 months, 90 days. Let's see here. Let's pull the USD-JPY chart. So, whoops, sorry. USD-JPY did a major. If you trade JPY pairs, they are very, very volatile, regardless of New York, Tokyo, or London. But it's always USD-JPY being the most volatile. Now, GBP-JPY dropped the most because the pound dropped all the way and broke 130 back to 129. And we can clearly see that on the pound here, it broke all the way down to 129.6. And you can see that build a resistance again at 130. Now it's coming back down. Very important to pay attention, not just to this crossover here, but to where prices are headed. On the 4-hour, if you look at the 4-hour, you can see that the wick here, and you can see the candle here on the pound. You can still see the gap between the 21 and the 9-day SMA are still farly apart, and they're not coming in to cross over to indicate a strong uptrend. It's just a retracement. In order for you to buy the reversal, it has to be a really strong push and close above one of the, especially it has to close above the lower moving average, which is your 9-day or your 10-day, and then shoot up even higher. If it doesn't do that and you just see a long wick, that doesn't indicate a reversal, because you can clearly see that the pound is dropping right back after hitting back to 130. By far, the pound is the weakest currency of this week. Let's see. Euro spiked all the way back to 116.7, but you can see it coming right back down. It already broke the 115 price what I was looking for. Broke the 116 price down to 115.7. And what I'm looking for is to come back to retest. Whoops. Ooh. Oh, my daughters need me. Hang on. Let me pause this. We'll pause. All right, back to what I was just saying here. Let me share my screen one more time here. Like I said, we are still planning on going long for the dollar, okay? This is DXY on the 4-hour chart. I know I was showing you guys the daily chart and the weekly chart. So you can see this wick bouncing off the 21 SMA, going back up again, back to 95, okay? Let's see here. Go to the daily chart for all the pairs so you guys can see the difference. USD CAD still bullish. USD CAD did not do a major retracement. So Canada is one of the weakest pairs along with the pound right now and the Japanese yen. So you gotta be very careful what you're buying and selling, especially when you go against major pairs, major currencies. USD Swiss franc did do a good retracement, just like USD JPY. Back down a little bit under the a dollar, back to 99.8, right? 99.8. You can see that the wick here at the very highest price of this week is at $1.00686 here. And you can see the crossover that happened here, looking to shoot further up. And let me show you guys the weekly chart so you guys can see a very good view where USD Swiss franc is headed. This here is pretty strong resistance, don't get me wrong. But this weekly crossover has not decided to where the 9 days is going to cross going back down yet. We're looking for another potential upside back to USD Swiss franc's previous high, which was these two prices here, $1.03. From there, then we could probably see a strong sell. Let me pull the monthly chart. Because on the monthly chart, USD Swiss franc has been down, right, from 2000 all the way to almost pretty much 12 years, right? So long term, eventually USD Swiss franc is going to come back to these prices. The initial resistance that needs to cut off here is $1.05. From there, then we could see a test for 115, 125, and then 135. Notice how I'm counting every 10 cents. Every 10 cents. Okay? So things are starting to change up. There's going to be more political events that are coming up for the fall besides the trade wars. And we have to be very, very alert, especially for every single New York sessions from now on. Thursdays, you have to remember there's going to be a lot of retracements. And then also Mondays and Tuesdays, I don't know how, like I said, I don't know how to explain this, but Mondays and Tuesdays in the summer are very volatile, and it causes trends to change versus on a Wednesday and Thursday. But Thursdays, you still have those retracement days, those pretty strong retracements during New York session, so that you can be very, you have to be very, also be on alert, but also be focused that whatever was overbought and oversold, eventually they're going to do a massive pullback. And there will be political news that will come out, and most of the time it's just Trump announcing his words towards like the Fed today, or towards the economy, or towards China or North Korea, or something that's along with that's going to do a major retracement for the dollar going down. Most of the time just sends the dollar going down, because right now the dollar is up now. Let's see here. Australia is going back down. New Zealand's going back down. So there's no point buying Australia or New Zealand. New Zealand is by far more weaker because it's at a 0.71% loss versus a 0.52% loss on Australia. So New Zealand is weaker than Australia. Other than that, like I said, I'm bullish on the dollar. I'm going to be bullish on the dollar until if the dollar cannot sustain to break higher and to even break 96, then we'll probably see a pretty good sell, a strong retracement going back down, maybe to 94, 93. But it still wants to make a push to go back up. So we cannot sell forever. So you have to be very, very careful where the dollar is being projected and where the banks are setting this up, especially for the time being for this week, and then up until the end of this month. On the 31st is a Tuesday, and then when the new monthly candle starts on the 1st on a Wednesday on August, we have to look for the upcoming quarter and the upcoming fall of where prices are going to be headed. So cannot change anything until the dollar or something major happens with the U.S. economy. Like I said, if anything, if you are not understanding my analysis of what I see, where the dollar is going, where gold is going, or where any of the pairs are going, just let me know in the chat group, and then I'll get back to you guys as soon as possible.